That is not mere social, but that has been accepted as the foundation of theism, theistic life. Varnashram. Ramananda Sangvad, the beginning from Varnashrama. Then it developed. The foundation of theistic life is supposed to be Varnashram. But there also the form should be neglected and the spirit should be accepted. In this way, the progress, the form and the spirit, both. When they make much of the form, then that is mere social. And when they look to the spirit of it, then it becomes a dynamic thing, Daiva Varnashram. Form is also necessary, and the spirit within, that is also necessary, but that is more substantial than the form. So from Ramananda Rai, Varnashrama Charvata, beginning is with Varnashram, and then gradually. What is the aim of Varnashram? Krishna Karmarpan, then Karma Tag, then Jnana Mishra Bhakti, then Jnana Sunna Bhakti, then the actual position in the devotional school is taken, Jnana Sunna Bhakti. Otherwise, all superficial, all permanent. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Varnashram. Hare Krishna, Gaur Hari Gaur, Gaur Hari Gaur. Jai Gaur Hari Gaur.
And Shiva Loka is Jnana Sunya Bhakti? Shivata?
Shiva Loka. Not proper. The lowest portion of Shuddha Bhakti, the lowest, near the marginal region. Shiva says, Brahma shows Shiva, Karma Mishra Bhakti Brahma. He points out Shiva to be higher. Shiva points us to Prahlad, and from Prahlad Shuddha Bhakti begins. Prahlad is above Shiva. Shiva is the emblem of Jnana Mishra. Then comes Prahlad. From there, Shuddha Bhakti begins. But Prahlad also hesitates, and he recites his own example, that sometimes I went to oppose Sri Vishnu in Naimisharanya, I went to fight against him in Sankalpa. So I should not be reckoned as Shuddha Bhakta. I have got some this demonic element in me, so I had the birth in the demon family. He says so. But still, in general, Prahlad is accepted as Shuddha Bhakta. And then above that, Hanuman, Shuddha Bhakta, Dasakta. Prahlad Shanta Bhakti. And the next higher, Daksha Bhakti, and the typical Daksha Bhakti in Hanuman. Then above that, Sakya Bhakti. And the typical in Sakya Bhakti is Arjuna, Krishna. Then again higher, this Jadava and Uddhava. And this way it develops. न तथा में प्रियतमो नात्मजो न शंकर न च संकर्षण न स्थिर नैवात्मा यथा भवा. Then कर्मिभ्य परितो हरित प्रियतया भक्ति जजुर ज्ञानिना. Jnanina means Chatusam. Tedbhak Jnana Vimukta Bhakti Parama means Narada. Jnana Vimukta Bhakti Parama. Premaika Nishtha Stata, that is Uddhava. Tedbhasta Pasupala Pankaja Desha. Then the Gopi. Then the next type Gopi Radhika. And the Radharani holding the highest position. In this way the gradation of devotion pure is rising up. Hari Krishna, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Manu Bhajya Samutkirne Sutrasya Vasti Vengati. Kalidas says, just before his compilation of Raghuvamsha, the great sage Kalidas, his introduction to his own self. Here I am, a small poet, and my aspiration to describe the great famous dynasty of the Surya Vangsha. Ka Surya Bhavu Vangsha, ka Chalpa Vishayamati. What is that great dynasty, royal dynasty that is Surya Vangsha? I am an insignificant person. I want to describe their glory, what ahankar, boast in me. अथवा कृतवागदारे वंशीस्मिन् पूर्वसूरिभिः मनो वज्रसमुत्कीर्णे सुप्तस्य वास्तव. On the other hand, I may think it that the Valmiki, Vyas, those great personages, they have shown, they have chalked out some path, and I can work out in that path. The example is very valuable. Mano Vajra Samutkirne. The money, the jewel, and the jewel is pierced through by first by the, what is that?
Needle.
Needle, that big needle. And then the thread can enter very easily through that. So my position is like thread. And the needle, the big needle, has already pierced through. So that is our position. The great Vaishnava, they have already weighed and given stamp what is what. And we are only like thread entering into that. Entering through the hole. So Sanatana Goswami, Kaviraj Goswami, Sugriva Goswami, they have already given us the comparative study of the Vaishnava. And from here we are trying to follow that and to understand that how the gradation is there. Here is Uddhava, here is Gopi, here is Radharani. And from here we are smoothly going on the marking. There is again, he is greater than, he is greater than from here. Sutrasya Vastime Goti. Sanatana Goswami, when writing about Satyabhama, Rukmini, who is who, then he says, it must have my audacity that I am going to compare, draw the comparison among the twins of Krishna in Dwaraka. What audacity I have got. But my friend, believe me, I am not writing someone forcibly taking my hand and force me to write. Sanatana Goswami said, I am a tiny person, how can I draw comparison between them and say this is, he is bad, he is good, he has got this qualification, he is higher qualification. But someone enforcing me to write. See, that's in my hand, my pen. So adhuksaya, that is, whenever we deal, it is the function of Yogamaya Sarupa Shakti. So if Jiva Shakti come to interfere, to handle, to participate, then that higher potency must come and influence him. Only it is possible there, then and there. Otherwise, no. A Jiva cannot have any connection to deal with those Vaikuntha things. So always this should be kept in mind. So our dedication, our surrender to that potency, that is our qualification. That should be considered as our qualification. That to surrender to that higher potency and to allow her to work through me. That should be. Or whenever we have to deal with that higher substances, then we should surrender, we should ask to be utilized by the higher force. So surrender is the first quality when we approach to deal with things of higher subject. Always this should be kept in mind. Do you follow? Am I clear? No.
Yes,
So we are helpless. And the surrendering is the only qualification that can help us to deal with things that are above, super-subjective realm. The super higher I cannot be subject. The realm is super-subjective, and it is not a fashion of saying. Reality is this. If we are to face with reality, then we must have to admit this. The super-subjective. As a subject, I cannot enter there. Super-subjective means to invite the super-subject to work in me. That should be the attitude. So Mahaprabhu says, Jnana Shunya Bhakti, Saranagati, surrendering. Surrendering is to invite the higher potency to work through me. That should be the attitude of all devotees, surrendering, and to make himself an instrument of the higher potency. As much as that will come in, only to give vent to that, no coloring, no prejudice of his own. As much as possible, the current will come down and try to represent that, what is coming down. That should be our attitude. Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. If we if we miss this point, this important point to hit, then we are undone. Prakrita Sahajiya. Then what will be the result? We shall muggling with the shadow. Shadow will be our subject. We shall fight with shadow. So But life of devotion is devotedness. Devotedness, the degree of devotedness to the cause. The wealth is there. Wealth is his, only it is then that comes down. It is his property, or in other words, it is the property of my Gurudev. Gurudev's property. I am using on his behalf. I must be a faithful servant to deal with his things. And he will say, this is my Gurudev's property in this way. Everyone in the succession. So this is the property of my Gurudev. He also says, this is the property of my Gurudev. In this way the succession. The opaque Guru and transparent Guru. The opaque Guru is to be rejected. Guru Burva. He wants to say that I am Guru. He is Guru Burva, not real Guru, Guru Burva, who confesses himself that I am Guru. He is Guru Burva. Atmanam Guru Badati.
গ্রুপ গ্রুপ মিন্সটা বলুন গ্রুপ বললে তো সবাই বুঝতে পারবেন না
ওই যে বললো who is confessing, who is his own confessor that he is Guru. He is Guru Burva, Brudhatu, Badati, who says that he, the Guru saying that I am Guru, confessing himself, Guru Burva. And the real Guru, he is transparent Guru. Through him, the things on other side can be seen. He is transparent. And Guru Burva, that is a barrier, hindrance between the transcendental and the mundane. Opaque. Haricharan, এই সিকি গ্লাস খাবার জল দাও।
This is the second time it's happened to me in 6 months. Second time.
গৌর
It's
উল্টে গিয়েছে। হ্যাঁ
When Krishna took his Mohini avatar and Shiva was following him, in Srimad Bhagavatam they say that there was no issue, but in South India they worship an issue which is called Harihara Putra. Is this bona fide?
Who is putting this question?
Buddhi Yoga.
Huh?
Buddhi Yoga.
Buddhi Yoga.
Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga. When has he come?
I've just come.
Today.
Today?
Last night.
Right. Then what is your question?
When Krishna took his Mohini avatar
Yes,
and Shiva was following him,
yes.
in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it does not
yes,
say
yes.
that there is.
What is the question
The
underlying?
question is, in South India, they worship an issue as Harihara Putra, the combination of Shiva and Vishnu, as asking if this is bona fide. If there was an issue, there was a Putra from Mohini and Shiva.
What does he say? In South India?
South India, they worship the
Hari-
sun,
Harihara.
Harihara Putra, the son of Mohini and Shiva. Is it correct or not?
Mohini and Shiva. This is the first time we traveled throughout South India. The first time this comes to me, and it gives me a suggestion that there is a class of Pasandis, followers of Shiva, extreme followers of Shiva. It is perhaps their created blasphemy. this never occurred. And if it is found in any Puran, Linga Puran or this Tamasic Puran, then also it should be taken as Mayavad Masachastam Prachannam Buddham Uchyati, later created by some of the mischievous persons in that way. Vasudha Shiva. And so Ramanuja told, Bagrino Khadyamano Vino Gachi Shiva Mandiram. It is better that a tiger will devour you, yet nevertheless you must not enter any temple of Shiva. No Gachi Shiva Mandiram. So for shelter. Don't go to take shelter in Shiva temple. Rather, the tiger may devour you. You will be less harm of Shiva. I have not heard like that so far. Rather, it is mentioned in Bhagavatam that Shiva was so much excited seeing that Mohini Murti. Mohini Murti was not a material one. Only Shiva wanted, Shiva was not present when Mohini Murti, Vishnu, distributed nectar amongst the gods and the demons. Shiva heard it afterwards, and he was so much charmed with the description of the beauty of Mohini Murti that he came to the place later on when all things have finished. Then Shiva prayed, if I could have seen that beautiful Murti. Then when he went to Narayana and prayed for this, then suddenly he saw that beautiful woman figure as Mohini just appeared before him, before his eyes, and he was so, and Shiva's wife was just on his side. But still, the wife in the side, that means the man must have some check, but he forgot himself that his guardian is there, forgot, and so much besides himself, he approached to catch her, but the Mohini Murti, that was a phantom, and that slipped away and then vanished. But Shiva was so much excited that the semen fell from him, and wherever those semen fell, the suvarna, the gold was produced thereby. It has been mentioned in Bhagavatam. But not any possibility there was of union between Mohini and Shiva. No possibility. And Vishnu is always Purusha, enjoyer, and not to be enjoyed anywhere. Intrinsically, substantially, he is always enjoyer and not to be enjoyed. That is Prakriti. We have never heard that Vishnu took the form of women. He is enjoyer, not to be enjoyed. Predominating mighty, not predominated mighty. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj,
Yes.
I was wondering that Sister
Where have you found that?
In Kerala.
Huh?
Kerala.
Kerala.
In
Kerala, where?
in
What place? Kerala.
it's all over Kerala. There are temples
Huh?
of Ayappa.
Then the ancient or recent,
They say ancient.
they say what you had your experience.
He's talking
Yes.
Ayappa.
Huh?
Ayappa.
Ayappa.
Ah.
Ayappa means
There's one particular,
particular province.
particular deity. Deity
Ayappa.
called Ayappa.
Ayappa.
You must have heard it then, at that time. Also.
Where is it located?
All
In
Kerala.
what town?
All Kerala.
Many places in Kerala.
Kerala.
Tamil Nadu. Many people worship Ayappa.
Ayappa.
Um,
Ayappa means the son
son
of
of.
Vishnu and Shiva.
Yeah. I also saw that.
The main shrine is
They're bogus.
Main shrine is
the main shrine is in Shabri Malay.
I did not hear. I heard only that they take Vishnu as the brother-in-law of Shiva. Because in Vrindavan from Yashoda, the twin, came Ashtabhuja Devi, whom the Vasudev took to Mathura from Vrindavan. Ashtabhuja Murti, the sister of Krishna. Krishna was born and the Ashtabhuja Murti born. Vasudev took Krishna to Yashoda and took her son. So they say that Ashtabhuja Murti Katyayani, she was the sister of Krishna. And because Ashtabhuja is the wife of Shiva, so Vishnu becomes wife's brother, that is brother-in-law. In this way, they represent Vishnu, the extreme section that that takes Shiva to be the highest God. All sections of the Shiva worshippers are to be found in the south. 4 sections. Pashupat, I forget the name. 4 sections they are divided into. But I never heard hitherto that such one child has been. But I found the name of Nijolingappa. Nijolingappa. Whose Appa means father, whose father is his own but who is his own father, his own father, Nijolingappa. He is father of himself. That is Nijolingappa. But that is Swayambhu. He has created himself. That is Swayambhu. By itself of Hegel. He is by reality, by itself. Nijolingappa. Hare Krishna. Maya Rakriti, Mahaprabhu says that Sanatana Goswami, that Mahishi Haran, Kesavatar, Viruddha Vyakhyan, that is all imagination to suit some purpose. What is that word technically known? Mahaprabhu told, remarked, Asura Mohan. Asura Mohan. Just as Shankara was ordered that go and try to take away the general attention of the people against me, draw away from me. Lokan mad vimukhan kuru. That is, for the unity of segregation in a hospital, the more serious patients are taken away for the interest of the less serious patient. So this policy has been adopted, that the who are great offenders, serious offenders, more heinous, they should be secluded. They are all offenders, but more or less the most desperate should be separated to save the mild offenders. For the interest of the mild offenders, the grave offenders should be separated. So, whose disposition is more atheistic, they should be separated from the wavering, hesitating public. So Madhvimukhan Kuru, clear that I am God. Preach that. It has been said like that. Lokan Madhvimukhan Kuru. What's the name you told?
Ayappa.
Ayappa. Aya means Arya. Appa means father.
Yes.
Ayar, Ar means Mahashaya. Aya means father. Pita Mahashaya. Ayappa, Aya means father. Appa. Appa means also father. Aya means father. Arya. Aya. Both Pita. Ayappa. 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 মানে বাপের বাপ. Something like that. Father of the father. Ayappa. The father of the father.
Aya sometimes means big brother.
Many may come to this. Aya, Appa, father. That is father's father. Ayappa.
বলছেন সামটাইম নাকি আইয়া বলতে বিগ বড় ভাই,
হ্যাঁ,
বড় ভাইকেও মিন করে আইয়া।
বড় ভাইকে, বড় ভাই তো আন্না, বড় ভাই হলো আন্না।
কখনো কখনো
আন্না আর নই বলে না কি আন্না টান্না বলে নাম আছে, হ্যাঁ আন্না। Anyhow, Gaur, any concoction, a curious concoction. Oh.
Maharaj,
Yes.
I was wondering, since today is Ekadasi, if you can tell us something about the importance of Ekadasi.
Ekadashi.
Yes.
Aprakrito. Aprakrito means which is like prakrito. Super mundane of prakrito, which is similar to mundane but not mundane. That is of prakrito, super mundane. The mundane color is there, so the word mundane is used. But we have to remind, give warning that this is not mundane, though similar to mundane. So aprakrito. So we are told that Krishna Maharaj is very super mundane, so like mundane. Similarity which bears the similarity of mundane. So as we find here that by the influence of the moon, here in this world, everything by the influence of the moon, they from the heat of the world, or the Rosh means the watery portion in the body that increases in every place. In Samudra, in ocean also this Jwar, the ebb and tide, yeah? What is that? Ebb and tide.
Tide.
Jwar
High tide, low tide.
comes,
High and low tide.
high and low. So, in full moon and the new moon, in nearing both these occasions, there the watery portion is swallowed, is enhanced, and thereby the enjoying spirit is also developed. I am talking it from the lecture of my Guru Maharaj in Kurukshetram in 1927, 28, 27. The basis, scientific basis, that by the movement of the earth, moon, planet and the sun, the heat becomes less and the exciting rush, the juice in our body is enhanced, and thereby it increases the tendency of exploitation, enjoyment. So, fasting is necessary to meet with that external movement of the nature. The fasting can save us from that peculiar reaction. So fasting has been recommended. And especially if one cannot fast at all, it is impossible, then he may take to some classes of diets that will give less cause for excitement. So anukalpa. And mainly fasting. Why? To check the senses. Because the senses at that time, by the natural flow, it becomes more intense, and the result is that he is excited and he wants to enjoy, to encroach on the environment. So this unfair encroachment of one's own self to be controlled, this fasting has been recommended. This is one way. Another way, it is took to the center. By in such season, the Krishna himself, he also felt more necessity of enjoying. And when Krishna feels more necessity, the devotees, they get a greater chance of service. The time is very valuable for them. The Krishna wants to enjoy. And at that time, devotees should be busy to supply his things for his enjoyment. So much so that they won't have any time to prepare themselves. Upa samipe vasa. Upa means samipe. Always to remain by the side of Krishna, whenever and whatever he wants only to supply. They forget to taking their own food, etc., or any other thing. They want to be more visibly engaged for the service of Krishna, because in the time of need they will fetch more remuneration, that is affinity towards Krishna, more grace. So upasamipi vasa. And the secondary is to, by fasting, we can make our body dry. And so our enjoying spirit will be lessened. These two. The general explanation. Then there are so many things that everything is conscious, everything is personal. So Ekadashi has got her personal character, and she devotes herself for the service of Krishna with all accompanying them. And the service of Krishna engages her, and does not know any food or anything else. Does not allow others also in her group to take food and waste time, but always engagement with the service of Krishna underlying meaning is that. Am I clear?
Yes. Yes.
Why is then that we take some food and not other foods?
That I told.
Why
that
we take?
That are less injurious. Those that are considered to be less injurious, not more exciting. But in that way it has been, and also it is mentioned in another way in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Some peculiar things. They are fond of taking their shelter in those places which we reject. A pap. Pap means a type of sin that are very fond of taking their shelter in those trees and those places which we purely want to avoid. It is mentioned like that. Gaur Hari Gaur. Nidai Gaur Hari Gaur. Nidai Gaur Hari.
Maharaj,
Yes?
can you tell us also about the importance of Dwadashi? Can you tell us also about the importance of Dwadashi?
The importance of Dwadashi.
Yes. Ekadashi, Dwadashi, Purnima, Amavasya. So in the beginning, Dwadashi is more, in another word, we are told, another aspect, approach, that Ekadashi, Dwadashi, they are very favorite tithi of Hari. So in that, the underlying cause already explained then. But it is told that these two tithis, they are very favorite to Hari. And in those tithis, if we serve Hari, Hari will be pleased with a smaller service. So Dwadashi, Ekadashi, both are very favorite to Hari. So Dvadashi has been called more favorite but little lenient. So Ekadashi, only Ashtam Mahadvadashi, then there we can leave Ekadashi and we observe Dvadashi. Otherwise, Ekadashi observance is compulsory. Compulsory. Though Dvadashi is also honored and favorite of Hari, still Ekadashi has got preference for fasting. And only in the 8 cases, by the mixture of Nakshatra, Tithi, etc., the Dvadashi has got the preference over Ekadashi. That is the time when our small service will give us a greater result. That is the clue, the key. In Ekadashi, in Dvadashi, if we serve, service is small, but we get some greater remuneration. Remuneration means his prem, priti, serving attitude, our earnestness. All these things will be enhanced in that particular season. Hari wants to consume more from the service. So that is the fortune of the servitors. That Hari demands more service. So the importance for the servitors. At that time, during Ekadashi and Dvadashi, less service of Hari is more useful. That is the key. Hare Krishna. Gaur Hari Gaur. And in the approach of Purnima or Amavasya, that rasa, that the material eccentricity of enjoying energy comes to the highest degree. So checked, in the beginning they check before full moon and new moon. It is checked nearby. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Jao. Jao.
Hare Krishna, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari. Nidai Gaur Hari, Gaur.
There's a microphone that works, wireless microphone.
Oh, in any place it may be placed.
Anywhere.
I am told that one button, this button was represented by America to Khrushchev or from Khrushchev to American president. He was presenting this button to you and it was there. And whatever they are talking of reported.
It is like that.
And in the second war I was told that one Japani half-mad sadhu, he was posted in Burma under a tree. He was a madman begging and spending his days in some meditation and etc. But he had a peculiar type of machine, something like in his hand, detected. That was detected. And then it was found that he was a spy, a sadhu, but only what he speaks, sometimes this hand watch for us, and that is transmitted.
They think that we Western Vaishnavas, that we are from the CIA. They say that we are from the
They are
CIA
of that mentality. Samasila bhajanti.
spies.
They are all a political mind. I was told that there was one leader of communistic thought previously, one Nipen professor. Nipen, he, when he came here, he also gave a lecture. And he told that I went to meet Bhavananda Maharaj. Swami Maharaj was present at that time. But he told you Indians, you don't you don't want to put faith in God. It is very wonderful. You first put faith and then you see whether he is or not. Beforehand you say there is no God, no God. But come to see God in a process that has been recommended, then you will know. That gentleman told that professor here that I was not defeated by his arguments, but I could trace his simplicity, and that attracted me. The gentleman told. And I was told by another gentleman that he approached Bhavananda Maharaj, that we were all CIA, all these things. That we wonder that in India you cannot think it, that a man can exclusively devote his life for spiritual purpose. We have to see that in India, the land famous for its spiritual culture. So they are all, so it justifies our attitude of Guru Maharaj to approach the West. The days of slave mentality, they are the Indians or Asians, they are more or less hankering up, staring at European culture, civilization. So they are all slaves to that culture, scientific civilization. So they should be approached, not these people who are always hankering after the grammar of present civilization, which is found in Europe and America, in the Western country. So it is useless to approach these people, but rather we shall try to approach them. So they are all more or less political minded, mostly political minded. Can't see beyond politics. Politics. This body conception. Though land famous for spiritual cultivation, but this Kali Yuga just the opposite. And so Mahaprabhu has come with the highest conception of spirituality, the highest degree of spiritual conception. He had to come to retaliate, to save the situation, the highest form of theism, a drop of the highest form of theism may be dealt with to these persons. Other medicines want to work. Only the highest type of medicine can work here. So, in some other ages also, men have got real sense. They aspire after a birth in Kali Yuga, apparently so unfavorable for spiritual life. So very unfavorable for spiritual life, this Kali Yuga. But still, Saragrahi. There are persons in any other Yuga where apparently environmentalists more spiritual. They want a birth in this Kali, the adverse position, that the highest degree is this of theism distributed here. Kali-yugi gunogga sarabhagino, Kaling sabha jayantarja gunogga sarabhagino, Jatra sankirtane naiva sarva sartho vilabhati. Only by small participation into that higher type of theism, one can be fulfilled in all aspects of life. So, because the environment is unfavorable, the guardian, our guardian is more thoughtful about our goodness, welfare. They are taking more care, more attentive to take care of us. Because the environment is so harmful. The guardians are more vigilant towards us, and they are providing similarly for our relief. All political consciousness, politics. And many of CIGs approached me also several times, and I told them straight that no. I was told that Swami Maharaj was also asked by Indira, that they say that there are so many CIGs under your... Yes, maybe, that is your lookout. Swami Maharaj talked straight. It is your lookout. There may be so many persons come, but I say that I am starting really dealing with reality and not with this politics or sociality, I can assure. But in such a huge crowd, some may enter, and it will be your business to find them and to punish them, and not mine. And Indira was very affectionate to Swami Maharaj, because when she was a child, she used to come with her father to purchase medicine from the shop of Swami Maharaj in Allahabad. Because the national medical shop was only in Bengal, Bengal Chemical. The first medicine was produced here in Bengal, and he was the agent of that Bengali, the country-made medicine in Allahabad. And Jawaharlal, because they are nationalists, so they liked the India production of medicine, anything which is produced in India, to encourage that industry. So they were customers to Swami Maharaj's shop. And Indira, as a girl, she also followed her father to purchase medicine from Swami Maharaj. At that time she was perhaps a boy, she was a girl of 9, 10 maybe. 1930, when I met Swami Maharaj, Indira was a girl of 12 at that time. So even from before, she used to come to her with her father to purchase medicine from Swami Maharaj. So 8, 10, 9.
9.
She used to come to Swami Maharaj and knew. The only agent of the national production of medicines in India at that time. No Bombay production or Maharashtra or Gujarat, they began. Only Bengal produced first medicine. Hare Krishna. So he, Swami Maharaj addressed her as Indu. Hindu, the family name, Hindu. Hare Krishna. And also she told, I heard from Swami Maharaj Paras, direct, told, you need not come to me for this concern. You may send your secretary to me, that will suffice. She gave assurance to Swami Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Gaur.
Maharaj, how is it that Advaita Acharya can be Mahavishnu and Sadashiva?
Mahavishnu and Shiva.
Sadashiva.
Sadashiva and Mahavishnu have similar position. That is, the Jiva Tattva as a whole represented in Shiva, as a whole. If the whole Jiva Tattva is represented in a symbolic way, that comes to give delivery of Shiva. And Shiva has got twofold characteristic, with adaptability of two sides. One, he can exploit this misconceived world, and he can serve the real world. Serve. But when he go to serve the real world, that is Shivaloka, so it's called Sadashiva, the more original form of representation of Shiva there. And there the Vishnu, that Shiva is also utilized for the first officer to serve for the this mundane world, the misunderstood world. So Narayana enters in one aspect, in one function. He enters there and manipulates through him. So if I had to look at the manipulator, then there is Mahavishnu. And where the inspiration is has come and through whom it is working, then we find Shiva. The delegation of Mahavishnu come in Shiva. So there is an eternal post created at the bottom of this whole of Brahmanda. That is the misunderstood of the world. The eternal position of an officer, the delegation of Vishnu, they are in the creation and the management of this world. You look at the inner function, there is Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is utilizing the highest representation of this Maya world, the jeep as a whole, searching after. It is incomplete, imperfect. Whenever any southern Indian people approached me when I was there in Madras, the Shiva is greater or Vishnu is greater, I used to point out them this thing, that Shiva's type is a searching, a type, a penance. He is practicing penances and searching after truth. Is not complete. But Vishnu is always full. Generally, Vishnu avatar is seen to be full with his own, not searching for any higher promotion or higher object. But Shiva is a type who is searching and inquiring and making penances to attain his end. So he is a want, but he is trying his utmost to eliminate his inner want. There is a type of that, seeking after truth, searching after truth, and taking penances. But Narayan, he does not take his search. He is full in himself. Generally, you see, where so many, the solution, so many problems none can solve, then at last they come to Narayan and he comes and solves the matter. His position is like that. He is self-contented and he is the giver of the highest solution of, in case of very intricate position, which cannot be solved by any other.
Maharaj, did Ramachandra really do Shiva Puja?
Yes, he did.
Why?
In a formal way, as he came as human beings, Krishna also, in Dwaraka life, he also showed so many, even the Brahmins and so many observance of Varnashram Dharma. He did. He also served his Guru. He went to Gurukul. That's all in human way. He wanted to Jajjadacharya sistas tatta devi darujana sajat pramanam kurute dogastadani utsi devi jime loka no kujyang karmuchedaham sankarishya chakatasya anupahana. What the higher personality does, the others follow. So, no buddhi bhedam jane dugganam karma sanginam. In Gita it is what you want, the answer given in Bhagavad Gita. If I do not observe all these things, the public won't care to observe and they would be lost. So I have to do. So Ramchandra, as he came here to teach a particular type of lesson to the public in this mundane world. And as mundane, he had to approach all the duties. Only in special cases he asserted himself. That he began the worship of the ocean, the person ocean. But ocean did not care to come to him. This sea, when just before the construction of the bridge from India to Lanka, he, to keep the honor of the sea, he fasted whole day and he worshipped the deity of sea and wanted to asked her permission, but she did not care to come to appear. Then he asked Lakshman, he ordered Lakshman, no, she is not coming, give my arrow and bow. I shall make the whole sea a dried pit. The whole water I should draw out of her. When the sea could, the goddess of sea, she could understand this, she ran and fell on its pit. In this way, he came in a human form and to show to the public how an ideal king should go on in discharging his duty. He was conscious of that. So, a human way, he behaved in almost everywhere. So once he worshipped the sea, worshipped many, worshipped Shiva also. And also with respect to the Brahmins. So many, like a human being.
Maharaj, is Hanumanji and Ganesh and Subramaniam, are they Angshas or Jivas?
Hanumanji as a devotee Saraswati, is eternal abode is Ayodhya in Vaikuntha. And what you say is Hanuman, Saraswati.
Ganesh, Ganapati?
And Ganapati, sometimes within him some function of Vishnu enters and works. Some delegation is found sometimes. But Ganapati means Vinayaka, that is the leader of the Democratic Party. Gan means many, and the leader of the many. Generally, they are misdoers. But Vinayaka, they represent the voice of the people, voice of the self-seekers. People are generally foreign people on bondage, they are self-seekers. And the Ganesh is the leader of them. So they are satisfied when one is going to begin a good action, any good attempt, give some in way of bribe, something they don't come to prevent my good attempt. I am satisfied. So in the beginning, the Vinayaka, Vignakara, whose nature is always to disturb the good people. They are given something. I am giving this you go off, don't disturb me. Disturbing element. That is Ganesha. And also there is sometimes we see there is some dedicated power in Ganesha. In Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned, wherever you will find any power concentrated, you may think that I am there. That Vibhuti Yoga. In this way. Wherever any power, anything big, anything greatness you find extraordinary, you must think that my power in any way is there. The tapasya also. My parents says, they want to acquire some power and they pray and I have to give him something in this way.
So Ganesh is Jiva Shakti or Sarup Shakti?
Ganesh. Ganesh is not Sarup Shakti. And the Kartikeya, he is also sometimes dedicated power because to kill the great demon, the Kartikeya was necessary. And they became that some potency to be attached there to make him successful in his campaign. Just as sometimes the leader of the party is promised some reward. Oh, you control your men. I am rewarding you with this little thing, and you control your party. A form of bribe. So, for the benefit of the people and for the good administration, many things to be adopted by the administrator. Hare Krishna, Gaur, Hari, Gaur, Hari, Gaur, Hari, Gaur, Hari.
Maharaj,
Yes.
after Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, no one could approach Nrsingadev to pacify him except Prahalad Maharaj. Why couldn't Lakshmi approach him if Lakshmi was his eternal consort?
That was to make the position of Prahlad Maharaj unique in the relation of service to Nrsimhadeva. Lakshmi Devi, she withdrew herself and purposely told that. And apparently it was also convincing for the peculiar figure of Nrsimhadeva. Lakshmi Devi, she told that I am afraid to approach him. He is in a furious mood. But only this has been taken for Prahlad's cause, benefit. So only Prahlad can approach him, and he will find in a loving mood. And otherwise he is now in a furious mood, and approach from any other quarter will have a clash between his present mood and from any other mood from any other quarter. But this is meant only for Prahlad, this furious figure. And Prahlad's approach will be considerate and will be real path to the solution to minimize his anger. That was a general common sense. And by that, Prahlad's devotion that was eulogized. And Lakshmi Devi herself told that I am afraid to approach him, and he is so much enraged, and only Prahlad. And it was the nature, it was the truth. And thereby Prahlad's position was enhanced as a devotee.
So also in Radha Kunda, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he spoke about Prahlad Maharaj in the Bhagavatam.
But Radha Kunda,
not Radha.
in Vrindavan, he asked his sannyasi disciple to explain about Prahlad Maharaj Shuddha Bhakti from Bhagavatam and not to indulge in describing the pastimes of Krishna and the Gopi and others, because it is too high. We must begin from the first plane of bhakti. Then that is above Pujala Raghavata Gaurava Bangi. That is high, high. And the Sahajiya has taken down in this mundane rasa in Vrindavan. So, to discourage them that what you are doing in Vrindavan and thinking you are Gopi and this Krishna in this way, you are, this is all false, wrong, this is all hell. You have created a hell in Vrindavan. So begin from ABC, the Shuddha Bhakti, Allah. Shuddha Bhakti. Then go step by step to the higher devotional level. And in the Samkunda and the Radha Kunda, in that barrier, he himself used to explain Upadeshamrita of Rupa Goswami, and not any 10th Kando, any Radha Krishna Lila, but Upadeshamrita. He explained himself there, and we were at the listeners, audience. Gaur Sundar.
In which position are the teachings of Rishabdev?
What?
The teachings of Rishabdev.
Of?
Rishabdev.
Rishabdev. No, what part you want to talk?
That where are these teachings placed?
What stage of devotion?
In which devotional stage? Like you say, Prahlad is Shuddha Bhakti.
You want to give particular instance.
Of his teachings.
Oh.
Like Nayam Deho Deha Bhajami Loke.
This is in general bhakti. In Bharat, in Rishabhadeva, it is ordinary, general bhakti. And Ambarish also. Maybe they come in Shantarasa.
As we are told that Bharat Maharaj, who was attracted to the deer, he fell from the stage of Bhava Bhakti. He fell due to attachment for the deer, but he was in the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Still he fell.
May be considered the lowest stage of Bhava Bhakti, or it may be considered that to give us warning, it has been shown like that. Just as the Lord Himself sometimes come to teach us, taking what is impossible, taking Him in Him, only to show. So Bhava Bhakti. What to speak of Bhagavati, it has also been warned against that from Swarup Siddhi also one may fall down. Only in Vastu Siddhi they are safe. When they attain Vastu Siddhi, they are saved eternally. Even in Swarup Siddhi, there may be danger. The fullest attainment, but not actually accepted, participated in the real Lila. As fitness is in perfection, but no recognition. Fitness before recognition is also dangerous. Something like that. When recognized, you are safe. Before that, from fitness, you may lose the chance of getting that. It may be possible. That is Swarup Siddhi. One has attained his highest position. But after that, Vastu Siddhi is get recognition, entrance by the higher sphere. Yes, he is one of us, admitted. Then you are. They will look after. The government will look after you. Otherwise, you are in individual consideration. Something like that. That is also within the jurisdiction of Swarup Shakti. But there in Swarup Shakti also there are divisions, higher lower. So the recognition, that is Vastu Siddhi. Formally it is told, when one has attained Swarup Siddhi, then where the Krishna Lila in Prapancha, in the material sphere, is going on, he receives a call from there. And then he enters. He is allowed to have entrance into that Bhauma Lila. Bhauma Lila. And from some rehearsal, and then he is taken in eternally. Something like that. The recognition. A rehearsal and recognition. And before that that government recommended rehearsal and recognition, his fate is uncertain.
So Krishna says, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam eti.
So you know.
So before this mam eti, Tyaktva deham. So does that mean only giving up the body as in death, or giving up the bodily conception?
Body of different materials. This deha means this flesh body, then this sukha body is also there. Takta deha punarjanma naiti mameti surjuna. Who? Unless, who, for whom it is told. Takta deha punarjanma naiti noeti mameti surjuna. Manmana.
Evam yo veti tattva.
Janma karma cha me divyam.
Evam jo veti tattva. Oh, janma karma cha me divyam. Evam jo veti tattva.
One who knows me.
Where is it? 11th canto.
Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter.
4th chapter.
Janma karma me dibbam.
In what connection it is told? Janma karma cha me dibbam. Evam jo veti tattva. And tattva means there is a long thing. It is tattva in what word? But there are so many stages. Evam jo veti tattva. Tatu mahang tattatu gatta vishati tadanantaram. tattva, realization, knowledge about the reality. You can enter into another layer, first layer, second layer, third layer in this way. That is also within him. So formal and material or substantial consideration everywhere to be traced. Division, subdivision, subdivision. As much we are minute, we can find them. The minutest difference between them. Hare Krishna, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol.
But devotees who may have fallen from Sarup Siddhi, are there any such examples are given for instruction?
Sarup Siddhi. Fallen, but the fall is also very temporary, it may be. When you take the case of Vishnu Chitta, who is even recognized as part of the Bhakta. But there also we find such thing. Do you know the story of the Vishnu Chitta?
No.
Vishnu Chitta was a priest in some temple in the south. He is a brahmachari. He is very scrupulously has engaged himself in the service. One day, suddenly, two girls came there to see the temple, and one of them was very much charmed with the beautiful figure of Vishnu Chitta. And she told his elder sister that I am charmed by the beauty of this pujari. I can't leave the place. You go. Then how to live there? They approached, both of them approached to the priest. He was the manager also. She wants to serve in this temple for some time. She is charmed by the atmosphere of the temple and she wants to render service to the deity. In a simple way, Vishnu says, accepted, yes, if she likes so. The service of my Lord, she may remain here. Then she is trying to entice the devotee, but devotee does not care in this way. Some time passed. Suddenly one day in a rainy season, with his cloth, wet cloth, so closely mixed with his body that perhaps her body attracted suddenly attention of Vishnu Chitta. And gradually they had some illicit connection. And so much so that when the girl thought that the man is under her clutches, she left the temple. And the man, leaving the service of the deity, followed her. And she went to her own place, home, Srianganatham. And the man, Vishnu Chitta, he also gave the charge to the temple proprietor and went Then after some time, that girl rejected him. I don't want you. But he can't leave her. Oh, take some money or something, otherwise I won't allow you to enter my room. What should he trying? One day, that gentleman, he is lying on a veranda of some householder. He is trying to sleep, but can't sleep. The mosquito is disturbing, and he is that way, disturbed way. He is passing her night. And at that time, Ranganatham and the Lakshmi Devi, they were out in a night tour throughout the streets of Sriyambam. Lakshmi Devi asked Ranganatham, who is that man? Why he is lying there and the mosquito, tolerating mosquito bites, a very miserable condition. Then, oh, you don't recognize him. He is our old servant of that particular temple, Vishnu Chitta. Why he is in such deplorable condition? Then the Ranganathan described the whole thing. Such and such things happened. You are very cruel. Give us something to the man, and he may enter the room of that girl. What can we give him? The golden, this Panchapatram, the spoon, golden spoon, they aroused the Vishnu Chitta. Oh, man, you are suffering, you are very poor. Take this thing. This is a valuable thing, you take this. And he did not care, he is mad in his own way. Did not care who is giving to him. When he got a golden spoon, very much joy. And he went to the door of the girl and they pushed. Yes, I have brought something valuable. Open the door. Then she opened the door and found this is this. How where have you got it? I have got it. Some gentleman has given it. Anyway, passed the night perhaps, and then in the temple that was missed, and it was reported to the king, and the king gave it beat of drum in the town. Wherever it will be found, it will be in danger. If anyone has found it, just put it, produce it to us. Then when they also got the news, it would be dangerous to keep it. Then that girl gave it that this man has given it to me. He was put into the prison. Then the Ranganath, he gave a dream to the king as well as to the highest priest that I have given it to him. He was my old servant in that temple. I have given him a reward. He won't be punished. Then of course he was released, and then he came to his former senses. What have I done? I was so and so. And I have come down to such a mean position. Then he roused like Ajami and went to his own service in this way. Some higher position it is shown. that even from high position we may fall. We must not boast of our position, must not be proud of our high position. Always be careful. Always be in a prayer mode, praying mode. What am I? The teeny soul, the Maya is so extensive, endowed with so much power, but only our bharsa, our hope, is the grace of Guru Vaishnava. Always be in the wanting and the prayerful mode. We should try to pass our time. Pass our time. Hare Krishna. We may not commit to the feet of those higher advanced people by coming indulging in discussion of their pure character, to take them down and to make an object of our, to satisfy our curiosity, but the necessity for which we are trying to draw to the bliss, their grace may be gracious to us. Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol. Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol. Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol. Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol.
It is said that Lord Ganesh can remove impediments from one's devotional service. One time, someone asked Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, about this, and he said, well, give me $100,000 a month and I will start immediately this worship. What are some practical things that we may do to remove some of these impediments that we have?
What does he say?
I'm not sure.
About Ganesh removing impediments.
Ganesh removes obstacles in our service. He
I don't follow.
says that Ganesh, to worship Ganesh Puja,
Yes.
a devotee may do that,
Yes.
to remove obstacles, impediments
Yes.
in his service.
Yes.
So, can we do that?
In a particular case, it may be granted when a devotee is found by his Guru that he has got much affinity towards Ganesh, then he may ask him, do it and pray to him that in no time he can release you and to help you to the way of Vishnu. Just as we are told, Jat karusi jadasnasi, jat juhusi jadasi, jat tamusi tat kurusya madatpanam. Whatever you are much engaged with, you can't get out from there. Try to connect it with the Supreme and do it for some time. Then it will vanish. Whatever you have got some affinity to particular work, you try to work in that way, but the result will be very particular to devote it to the center. And then, in no time, you will get relief from that particular tendency, which is an obstacle, the anukulasya sankalpa. It will come in this jurisdiction, under Krishna Karmarpam. I have got particular affinity to a particular duty, and that duty maybe sometime attached, and only to connect it towards the center. And in a short time, I was relieved of that tendency with this idea that may be provided timely. Hare Krishna.
I was meaning, what are some other practical, general things that we can do to remove some of these impediments and troubles we have in devotional service?
What does he say?
He's asking what other things can be done to remove.
What?
What other activities can be performed to remove the inartas or the obstacles to devotional service?
Not just Ganesh Puja, but any other thing.
Anything, Ganesh Puja, affinity or Shiva Puja or whatever it may be, I am captured by particular interest. And if I want to get out of that particular interest, that should be connected with the Absolute. And then in the shortest time, I will be relieved of that. Jat karoshi, jat asnasi, jat juhoshi, gadasi, jat tavasya tat kurusya madatpanam. In Varnashram Dharma, they are worshipping the deity Durga, all these things. Pitaitat karma phalam Sri Krishnaya samarpitamastu, the connecting link in this way. And when that will be more purified, then jat karoshi, jat asnasi, whatever is doing direct towards Krishna, tasmin tushti, priyatang pundari kakha. The connection is given in this way, and that will be more and more clear and direct. And then sarvadharman parityajya, he would come to that stage that he can give up all conceptions of duties for the service of Krishna. Who is asking the question?
What's his name? Bhakta Jeff.
Bhakta?
Jeff.
Jet.
Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah, he came with their
J.P.
Jeff.
J.E.F.
Double F.
Jeff.
Jeffrey. He came with their Krishna.
Just as in Upanishad it is told, I am riding a horse. I am trying to take the horse this side, but horse is going forcibly. I shall try always to make a turn towards a particular direction, but the horse is going. I am to let loose for some time, and I will always be trying to get it. Then sometimes I shall find that horse whim has been diminished and he is coming to my desired way. It is mentioned in the Upanishad, something like that. We are helplessly, we may allow to go another way, but our desired way is another side. So we are allowed to go something in advance and always trying to change the direction. This way, sometime I shall find that I am able to change my direction towards Krishna. Luki Bhavaya Mishamuddhasiva Nittasya Jantu Nahi Sattva Yogama Navasthiti Strishu Vivaha Yuga Asuragvahi Asu Nivrittirishta. To allow us to work in the wrong direction for some time with the object and with some strategic advice to come back through that. If I want to go to give him direct opposition, I may be lost. So that strategy has been recommended to be accepted by us in our spiritual movement also.
In the incident of Bali Maharaj rejecting Shukracharya, Saksha Vamanadeva, what are some of the practical instructions we can get from this?
That depends upon the Sukriti. For some Dushkriti, some evil action. My fate is entangled with Guru, he is not up to my liking. So, in that case, my Sukriti guides me against the acceptance of my temporary Guru. And by crossing the order of Guru, we have to do something. That whoever will stand on the way of myself and my Supreme Lord, he may be rejected. And what to speak of any other different hindrances, even Guru, false Guru. Guru means false Guru, who wants to create some hindrance, create some boundary wall, some wall between myself and my desired Lord. Such Guru should be removed. And here came the Sukriti in the disciple. Sukriti was of a pure type, but anyhow, for some false deed of his previous life, he had to meet a false Guru, not a proper guide. And it was necessary that Shan Guru should be given up. There are so many taking the Diksha from this Guru, tradesman, Guru treasure, and to give up that and come to the real Sadhu Guru. The Lakshman, according to the symptoms of Guru, has been given in the scriptures, and by leaving aside the ordinary common Guru that are going on in the world, he should take shelter in a proper Guru, Guru Nibbana, Kula Guru, then so many Gurus of Vaishnava. Grahayat Vaishnavad Guru, Vaishnavu Drishtena Mantrena Nirayang Briyet, Tadashta Vidhina Sammak, Grahayat Vaishnavad Guru. There is some Vaishnavu Drishtena Mantrena Nirayang Briyet. Punashta Vidhina Sammak, Punashta Vidhina ki Dikham Grahayat Vaishnavad Guru, very important. For my previous offences, I unconsciously submitted to a formal Guru, but and that material acquisition pushed me, pinched me, and warned me of my false future, and showed me proper light. Then, leaving that, I must come to a fair Vaishnava, gentle man, and to accept him, my Guru. So this is Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Gaur Nidai, Gaur Nidai, Gaur Nidai, Gaur Nidai. Bhuta Shuddhi, to set right, by chanting the name of Gaur Nityananda. We want to take our position proper.